Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gomansing in our top story. The VI Superior Court has deemed that the St. Thomas St. John Board of Elections lacks the discretion to simply postpone the certification of the April 8th special elections. A writ of mandamus granted to Janelle Saru on July 5th, and the 32nd legislature is set to convene in a session that will be held on July 14th. Stephanie Brown reports.
Janelle Saru, the winner of the special elections, put in motion a judicial hierarchy tug-of-war when she petitioned for a writ mandamus requesting that the VI Supreme Court order the VI Superior Court to order the St. Thomas St. John Board of Elections to certify the April 8th elections. In an 11-page document, the Supreme Court of the Virgin Islands agreed with Saru's grievances with the Board of Elections. The justices wrote that Saru has a clear and indisputable right to have the special elections certified. However, on July 3rd, the Supreme Court denied the petition, citing that Janelle's writ of mandamus in the Superior Court was not yet ruled on. 2 days later, on July 5th, the Superior Court granted Saru's writ ordering Carolyn Fox, the supervisor of the Board of Elections, Arturo Watlington, Ivy Moses, Alicia Wells, Lydia Hendricks, and 3 others from the Board of Elections St. Thomas St. John District to certify the special elections. The Democratic Party of the Virgin Islands, primarily Edgar Backup Phillips, Glenn Smith, and Luis Morales, filed for a temporary restraining order to block the board from certifying the elections, but the petition was denied. Donna Christensen, the Democratic Party state chair, who has been at odds with the St. Thomas Democratic District chair, Edgar Backup Phillips, announced on July 8th that the party filed for a preliminary injunction in the district court. The letter states that the case is not to keep the winner of the special elections out of the legislature, but rather because the party thinks that the revised Organic Act was not complied with during the July 27 and 28 legislative hearings on Kevin Rodriguez's qualifications to take a seat in the 32nd legislature. For News 2, I'm Stephanie Shalana Brown.
In the Democratic Party letter signed by Donna Christensen, funds were being requested to pay for legal counsel to dispute legislative decisions on Kevin Rodriguez's qualifications to be seated as the 15th senator. Be sure to count on 2 to keep you updated. Well, Governor Kenneth Mapp departed the territory Sunday to meet with federal officials and congressional leaders in Washington, D.C., and to attend the National Governors Association summer meeting in Providence, Rhode Island. Included on the governor's schedule are appointments with U.S. Secretary of Interior Ryan Zinke and U.S. Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos, a meeting that Virgin Islands Education Commissioner Sharon McCollum and Office of Management and Budget Director Nolan Bowery will attend. More than 30 governors are expected to convene in Rhode Island on July 14th for discussions on cybersecurity, federal-state collaboration, workforce development, innovation, and global trade. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is among those scheduled to speak at this year's meeting. In accordance with the revised Organic Act of 1954, Finance Commissioner Valdemar Collins will serve as acting governor through July 13th, when Lieutenant Governor Osbert Potter returns to the territory from a meeting of the National Association of Insurance Commissioners in Madison, Wisconsin. Governor Mapp will return July 17th. Well, Phase 2 of the Frederickstead Economic Revitalization was celebrated during the groundbreaking ceremony, as we reported last week, of the Paulie Joseph Stadium recently. The stadium cost $20 million to construct, and the St. Croix Christmas Festival Village and the Terrence Martin softball field will also have a home at the stadium that will be able to seat 2,000 individuals. Governor Mapp also unveiled more plans to bolster sports tourism on St. Croix.
The project that we are building is not a $20 million project. The project and the investment that we are going to make here in Frederickstead in Phase 2 is a $27 million project. It is $27 million because it's not just stadiums and festival fields. It includes complete refurbishment of tennis courts, basketball courts, the tot lot. It creates change in our road system in the area. We're going to be looking to expand to the north, where we expect to build 2 professional soccer fields of synthetic grass. And I want to commend.
Well, one step ahead for a new startup restaurant to be built in the historic Oscar Henry Customs House in Frederick-St. Croix, in addition to the upscale casual dining second-floor restaurant. Other plans include a ground-floor museum of the scale house for tourists and visitors alike. Now, the Committee on Finance, chaired by Senator Kurt Violet, they approved a lease agreement between the government of the VI, Department of Property and Procurement, and the Cruisen Group, LLC, DBA II Palace. The measure, Bill number 32-0126. Chairman Violet expressed that this is the right time to invest in St. Croix's restaurant industry. According to Lawrenson, the Cruisen Group, LLC's main mission with this project is to help revitalize the Frederick-St. area with an investment of up to $400,000. The Cruisen Group LLC is committing to preserving the historical aspect of the building with appropriate techniques for coral-based material building. Also, consideration of an AC system that includes a humidifier to maintain proper atmospheric conditions for the facility's interior. The measure received unanimous support from committee members and will be forwarded to the full body for further consideration. Virgin Islands Water and Power's Executive Director Julio Reimer Sr. on Monday advised the public that after July 28th, utility payments can no longer be made at Scotiabank branches in the VI. He said it is unfortunate that we have arrived at this decision, but a formal notification from officials at Scotiabank left WAPA with few choices. The bank advised them that beginning August 15th, they would only accept utility payments from Scotiabank account holders, and for those customers, the processing fee would be increased by 100%. The authority found this increase in cost and customer exclusivity unacceptable. Therefore, the authority has decided to end this contractual relationship, Reimer said. For those customers, Reimer noted that WAPA provides a number of payment options that can be utilized. In other WAPA news, the governing board approved bond anticipation notes of up to $85 million. Fiscal year 2016, electric and water systems audited financial statements and the formalizing of agreements with 3 contractors to assist WAPA in the aftermath of a hurricane or other natural disaster. The board's unanimous approval of all items came at an emergency meeting held on St. Thomas. Julio Reimer Sr. said the resolution's approval is for bond anticipation notes up to $85 million with a maximum maturity of up to 3 years from date of issuance. The new units will foster the implementation of the Integrated Resource Plan and the authority's strategic plan of producing more efficient energy at an affordable price. Turning to some crime reports, on Saturday, Hubert Willis Lee Jr., aka Blackest, a wanted suspect in a carjacking and rape, was returned to St. Croix. Here's more from the VIPD.
On Saturday, July 8th, Hubert Willis Lee Jr., a.k.a. Blackest, were returned to St. Croix, escorted by VIPD criminal investigations detectives. Lee was extradited from North Carolina. The VIPD extends their gratitude to the airline carrier, American Airlines, for their accommodations. Lee was booked, processed, and transported to the Golden Grove Detention Center, pending his advice of rights hearing. Bail was set at $500,000. All 3 suspects for the East End Road carjacking is now in VIPD custody.
Police say on Friday, July 17th at about 1:30 p.m., the VIPD's intel detectives contacted a suspect, 21-year-old Mr. James Nash III, at his residence, at which time he was taken into custody pursuant to an arrest warrant. Nash is charged with first assault, third, unauthorized possession of a firearm, and attempting murder. Nash was taken to the BOC pending advice of rights. On Monday, June 5th, about 12:05 a.m., 911 emergency call center transmitted shots being fired in Comprinson's Gata and Simmons Alley area. Shortly after, 911 emergency call center dispatched units to Schneider Regional Medical Center's emergency room about a gunshot victim. Officers arrived to the ER, made contact with a male victim who stated that he was walking westward on Comprinson's Gata. An unknown male walked up to him and asked a question. Victim stated it felt suspicious, so he kept looking back when he saw the male suspect pull out a firearm from his waist and began firing shots at him. He continued to state that he grabbed the suspect's hand, at which time a scuffle ensued while the male kept firing shots at him. He further stated the victim that he was able to run away while the suspect fled in an unknown direction. The victim later felt a burning sensation and realized that he had been shot. An unknown citizen drove him to the hospital. He sustained a single gunshot wound to his upper left shoulder and was treated at the ER for his injury and released. Coming up on News 2, let's take a quick look at the numbers at the eye in the economy. Let's take a look at the numbers there. We have CNN coming up in our B block there. Dow down 5, NASDAQ and S&P up 23 and 2. Stick around. Coming up, we have more on a group. Step by step, they say they're pushing health with a walkability plan. That's coming up next. Welcome back. The U.S. Senate back after a week away, facing a sprawling to-do list before the August break. For Republican leadership, health care, they say, is priority number one. But the recess didn't make things easier, with some members getting an earful from constituents. At least 10 Republican senators have publicly opposed the bill in its current form. Without any Democratic support, Majority Leader Mitch McConnell can only lose 2. Some conservatives say the bill doesn't repeal enough of Obamacare. Some moderates say cuts to Medicaid are too much. While leadership scrambles to make changes, at least one GOP member, Susan Collins of Maine, says tweaking just isn't good enough. Turning back to the territory, a project is presently underway to make the VI more walkable. How? They say by involving many agencies, partners, and the committee, step by step. Here's more. They say step by step is the way to get this project going. Why?
Physical activity is very important, but the levels of physical activity in our community are not as high as they should be.
A group of St. Thomas residents have already taken the steps on the aerial Melchior Drive behind the hospital to not only walk, but address the areas of concern.
It's a little over 1,000 feet. This area represents mixed development. It has a hospital, residential, commercial, government. So this is a good area to develop a complete street that would encourage walking. Because currently in this area there's no pedestrian facility, although a lot of people do walk in the area. We want to make it safer and encourage more people to walk. For the first phase of the project, which is represented in the blue line, we're starting now, and we hope to have a completed project by the end of the year using low-cost solutions. And eventually, if this is successful, we'd like to develop the entire perimeter road using more permanent construction solutions.
Last month, the VI Department of Health, in conjunction with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the Task Force for Global Health, conducted a 2-day USVI Walkability Institute that involved participants from the public and private sectors, along with residents.
Walkability is the measure of how friendly an area is to walking or biking, and complete streets, designed and operated to enable safe access for all users. And this image shows an example of a complete street. So this is, in a fantasy world, if we could have life our way, this is what a complete street would look like, or an example of one.
Our objectives was island teams were created to draft an action plan to institute small-scale projects that would alter current landscape to promote safety and encourage physical activity.
We are encouraging you to join us because all of us have a vested interest. So we're going to be having bi-weekly planning meetings. We have already started to engage community stakeholders, and we have historic sites here. So not only are we encouraging you to also walk and use your bike, but we also want to understand the historical places in our community.
Senator Marvin Blyden has scheduled a town hall meeting to discuss with his constituents the concerns about his proposed bill number 32-0073, which is an act amending Title 33 Virgin Islands Code, Chapter 81, by adding a new real property tax classification for villa rentals. The town hall will be held in the Creaky Conference Hall in St. John Legislature. That begins 6 p.m. July 19th. He's asking that you come with an open mind and share your concerns for the sensitive topic, and he's welcoming some constructive criticism as well. Virgin Islands Waste Management Authority reminding residents St. Thomas, St. Croix, and St. John of the town hall for solid waste and wastewater haulers and the general public. The meetings will discuss the implementation of tipping fees, wastewater disposal fees that will be implemented on August 1st, 2017. These fees will apply only to the commercial haulers representatives from VIWMA's solid waste and wastewater divisions. They will all be available to discuss the details and methodology of the implementation process in all three islands. Those are the dates there. St. Croix Curriculum Center, July 13th, 6 to 8. St. John, July 17th, 6 to 8. And St. Thomas Curriculum Center, again at 6 to 8. Time for our summer camp feature. Our youngsters are hard at work preparing for the lights, camera, and action of this play during this little playwright summer camp. Stars Musical Theater Camp, and it's a summer camp for youth ages 9 and older there. They're presenting Disney's The Lion King that's coming up with music and lyrics by Elton John and Tim Rice. The musical camp director, Lauren Brode-Clark, has directed theater camps and theater youth programs for 15 years. Now these performances are set for July 25th to the 30th.
So it's a 6-week-long summer camp. It's a really amazing professional place for kids to come and learn everything about the stage. Musicals, dancing, acting, sets and lights and sound. And they come, and for 6 weeks a new musical is chosen every summer, and they rehearse it like an entire cast. They audition professionally, they rehearse professionally every day from 9 to 3, and then at the final week we perform for the community here in St. Thomas. And it's wonderful. It's a professional experience.
Be sure to check that out. Now, St. Thomas East End Rotary, they presented an agriculture, arts, and crafts fair, but this time they took the event to the visitors at the Elysian Beach Resort. That was on Saturday. Local handmade arts and crafts, food and drinks were on display and available. There were dance performances by the Filipino community. Many partnered together for this, including Senator Blyden, Senator Smith, Adla Fonsi Donnerstarg, and Pastor Charles Brown Jr. The event was so successful, they were invited. The vendors were invited to return Wednesday and Friday. And after the event, a check was presented for $100 for the security cameras and support for the Red Hook Association as well. It was an exciting day for those who attended the Mango Melee on St. Croix. Well, these are just some of the highlights. It was a very mango day at the St. George's Botanical Gardens. Locals and visitors enjoyed the fun-filled event to indulge in the flavors of mango and other tropical fruits. There were local fruit displays, vendors, food, drinks, games, and live entertainment. Job well done there to the event coordinators of this year's Mango's Melee.
We had mango roll-ups, mango smoothie, yes. Overall day was really hot, but really good. Lots of positive vibes and fun.
Mango, this is the third bucket, so it's done. It's homemade, so it's awesome. It doesn't last long, so, and it's still early, so it's good. But yeah, I'm awesome. As you can see, I'm right in the front. As soon as you come to the gate, you can't miss me. You're not here, you missed it.
Well, before we go to the weather, keep a lookout this week to observe the world's first large space-based telescope, the Hubble Bubble Space Telescope. Now, this space satellite orbits the Earth once every 96 minutes and will be visible at night during the following times this week: tonight, Monday, July 10th at 8:22 p.m., Tuesday, July 11th at 8:11, Wednesday, July 12th, 8:01, Thursday, July 14th, 7:51, Friday, July 14th, Saturday, July 15th, and Sunday. So the whole week you have a chance to see this. Check out the times there and be sure to look up. Stick around, your News 2 accurate forecast is coming up next.
We are watching the leftover moisture from former tropical depression 4 just to our north. It looks kind of ominous on the satellite loop, but it's not going to be of too much consequence for us. Here we are in water vapor mode, and you can see the yellow air is dry and dusty, but to our north there is a lot of moisture. This system is going to generally pass to our north. A chunk of it broke off and produced some storms, and that led to some minor flooding on Sunday morning in Puerto Rico, but now it's still off to the north, but it's pretty well contained, so we don't expect to be impacted by most of that system. So tonight we'll go mainly clear, 80 for your low, and there might be a few passing showers tomorrow as we take a look at the details into St. John. 89, a brief shower or two, nothing too widespread. Into St. Thomas, we'll match that forecast, 89, and to no surprise, St. Croix is on the same page here, 89 degrees, a shower or two. Really, I think the greater chance of showers is probably a little to the north, so perhaps a slightly reduced chance of storms and showers into the area of St. Croix. On the Atlantic side, wave heights are running around 3 to 5 feet. We have a good little breeze from the east. Those are the trade winds at 10 to 15 knots. And on the Caribbean side, similar weather, maybe a small downtick in the wave heights. 2 to 4 footers out there will be rolling along at times. So that extended forecast is looking, again, pretty similar from day to day, although we are going to warm up a little bit into Thursday. And we are also keeping an eye on a tropical wave that's way out in the eastern Atlantic. And by the time we hit this Sunday and maybe Monday, it could be nearby. That's beyond 5 days. So focusing on the next 5 days, tomorrow we saw 89 and a brief shower with each of the islands basically on the same page. Wednesday, brief shower or two. Similar weather. Thursday we'll get about a degree warmer. Still occasional brief showers here and there. Into Friday, showers are a little more likely in the morning. Saturday into Sunday, we'll probably be turning our attention to the east as we need to keep an eye on that tropical wave that could strengthen some. Sandy, back to you.
Thank you. So we're keeping the umbrella handy. Tara Rollins of Nisky Moravian sends this with a lot of sunshine and blue skies, Tara, but be sure to keep the umbrella. Thank you for your picture. That is all for this edition of News 2. Thank you for joining us. We leave you with a message from the Pistarckle Theater's Playwright Camp. Have a wonderful evening.